The most famous quarterback in NFL history. 7 Super Bowl rings. Billions of dollars. A legacy carved in stone. But what if I told you that legacy was built on a lie? What if everything you thought you knew about Tom Brady was just the surface? Tonight, we're exposing a secret that's been buried for years. A hidden controversy that threatens to tear down the greatest career in sports history. The NFL doesn't want you to hear this. Roger Goodell tried to cover it up. And Brady? He's been playing a dangerous game that could cost him everything. You think you know the GOAT? You have no idea what he's been hiding. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at Tom Brady the same way again. Tom Brady stood atop the NFL world, the undisputed king of football. 7 Super Bowl victories. 5 Super Bowl MVP awards. More passing yards and touchdowns than any quarterback in history. His smile was everywhere. Commercials, magazine covers, the cover of Madden. The American dream personified in a pair of cleats and a tight spiral. But behind that polished image, something was brewing. In the fall of 2024, Brady made a move that seemed like the next logical step for any retired legend. He signed a $375 million deal with Fox Sports to become their lead NFL analyst, the highest broadcasting contract in sports history. The move was celebrated as a victory for football fans everywhere. Brady would bring his unmatched insight to the booth, breaking down the game like no one else could. Then came the twist that changed everything. Brady, the broadcaster who would now be covering all 32 teams, purchased a minority ownership stake in the Las Vegas Raiders. And just like that, the perfect image began to crack. On the surface, it was just business. But beneath the headlines and the smiles, a storm was gathering. Brady now wore 3 hats: Fox analyst, Raiders owner, and, most controversially, an unofficial advisor to the Raiders coaching staff. This was more than a simple career pivot. This was a fundamental conflict of interest, and the NFL knew it. The league quickly implemented what became known as the Brady Rules, restrictions designed to prevent him from using his broadcasting access to benefit his team. He couldn't attend other teams' practices. His production meetings were limited. The NFL insisted everything was fine. But in the shadows, something else was happening. Brady didn't stop. He just got smarter about it. Behind closed doors, the Raiders coaching staff began treating him less like an owner and more like a secret weapon. Reports surfaced that Brady was reviewing game film with Raiders offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. He was in regular contact with Coach Pete Carroll. When asked about Brady's involvement, Carroll called him a tremendous asset. Asset, not owner, not broadcaster. Asset. That word choice was deliberate, and it was terrifying. But what happened next would send shockwaves through the league. Something that made Deflategate look like a minor misunderstanding. Something that had Hall of Fame voters questioning whether Brady even deserved a gold jacket. And it started with a photograph. Week 2 of the NFL season. The Las Vegas Raiders are hosting the Los Angeles Chargers at Allegiant Stadium. The game is close. The tension is palpable. And in the coach's booth, cameras catch something they weren't supposed to see. Tom Brady is sitting next to Chip Kelly, wearing a headset. He's flipping through what appears to be play sheets. He's talking strategy. He's right in the middle of the action. That image went viral in minutes. The internet exploded. Accusations of cheating flooded social media. Fans demanded answers. Analysts called for an investigation. Why is a broadcaster wearing a headset in the coach's booth? They asked. Why is a broadcaster, who is supposed to be impartial, helping an NFL team make game day decisions? The NFL scrambled to respond. A league spokesperson released a statement that did nothing to calm the fire. Nothing in the rules prohibits an owner from being in the coach's box or wearing a headset. That answer was technically correct, but it was also a massive red flag. Because Tom Brady is not just an owner. He's not just a broadcaster. He's Tom freaking Brady, and everyone in that stadium knows exactly what that means. The optics were catastrophic. But that's not what really happened. Wait, we need to back up. Because before that photo ever existed, the seeds of this controversy were already planted. The real story started much earlier. It started with a man who refused to retire. A man whose competitive drive was so intense, he would do anything to win. Anything. In 2005, at just 27 years old, Tom Brady almost walked away from football completely. The reason? Chronic elbow pain so severe that he couldn't throw a football without wincing. A pain that dated back to his childhood. a pain that made every pass a battle. I really wondered how long I could play, Brady admitted later. If I was never going to be able to throw the football without pain. Imagine that world. Imagine a world without the 28-3 comeback, without the Buccaneers Super Bowl, without the GOAT debate. Just nothing. But Brady didn't quit. He found a solution. Or rather, he found a man who changed everything. His trainer, Alex Guerrero. Guerrero introduced Brady to pliability therapy, a method that focused on elongating tight muscles and improving flexibility. Within days, Brady felt relief. Within weeks, he was pain-free. And the rest, as they say, is history. That story became part of Brady's legend, the ultimate underdog tale. The quarterback who overcame physical limitations to become the greatest ever. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. That same obsessive drive that saved his career also put everything at risk. Because if you're willing to do whatever it takes to win, where do you draw the line? For Brady, the line became blurry a long time ago. Let's go back to 2007, the Spygate scandal. The Patriots were caught videotaping opposing coaches' defensive signals. The league fined Bill Belichick $500,000 and the team $250,000. They also stripped the Patriots of their first-round pick in the 2008 NFL Draft. Brady's involvement? Officially, he was cleared. But the damage was done. The Patriots dynasty now had a permanent asterisk. Then came Deflategate. Brady was accused of ordering the underinflation of footballs during the 2015 AFC Championship game. The NFL suspended him for 4 games. His reputation took a massive hit. He spent years fighting the accusation, and he won in court. But the whispers never stopped. He's a cheater, his critics said. He only won because the Patriots cheated. Brady brushed them off. He kept winning. He won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. He proved he could do it without Belichick. And by the time he retired, the Deflategate controversy felt like ancient history. But now it's back. Here's what nobody is talking about. The new controversy is not about deflated footballs. It's not about taping practices. It's about something far more dangerous. It's about the integrity of the entire NFL. In the fall of 2025, the NFL lifted some of the restrictions on Brady. He was now allowed to participate in production meetings remotely. He could interview players off-site. The league seemed convinced that Brady had learned to separate his broadcasting duties from his ownership interests. But the reality was far different. Because Brady isn't the only one playing both sides. Troy Aikman, the legendary Cowboys quarterback turned ESPN analyst, revealed something that exposed the whole system. Aikman admitted that he had been hired by the Miami Dolphins as a consultant. His job? To funnel information he learned as a broadcaster directly to the Dolphins coaching staff. Information about other teams' strategies. Information that could give Miami a competitive edge. I think the Dolphins were wise in understanding my relationships around the league and knowing that I have information that they don't have or can't get, Aikman said. Let that sink in. Aikman essentially admitted to cheating. He's using his broadcasting access, the access that's supposed to be impartial, to help a team gain an unfair advantage. And the Dolphins? This is the same organization that lost a first-round pick in 2023 for tampering with Brady while he was still under contract with the Patriots. They have a history of pushing boundaries, a history of bending the rules. Now they're taking it to the next level. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that this practice is probably widespread. As Aikman pointed out, NFL teams don't have to disclose when they hire broadcasters as consultants. It's entirely private. There's no public record, no transparency. How many times could this have happened? That's the question no one is asking. How many games have been influenced by broadcasters feeding information to teams? How many playoff races have been impacted? How many Super Bowls? The answer is terrifying. And it all started with Tom Brady. Because before Brady, no broadcaster had ever owned a team. Before Brady, the conflict of interest was theoretical. Now it's real, and teams are already adapting. Other broadcasters are following his lead. Aikman's Dolphins deal is just the tip of the iceberg. The Pandora's box is open, and there's no closing it. The real victim here isn't Tom Brady. It's the fans. It's the players. It's the integrity of the game we love. But wait, this gets even deeper. Remember the 2020 report that said Brady wouldn't be signing with the Titans? The one that came out just 4 days after photos surfaced showing ESPN reporter Diana Rossini and Titans coach Mike Vrabel together in New York? That report shaped the entire 2020 free agency market. It sent Brady to Tampa Bay instead of Tennessee. It altered the trajectory of multiple franchises. And now people are asking questions. Did Rossini get that information from Vrabel? Did an ESPN reporter and an NFL coach have an improper relationship that influenced a major league decision? Were smaller beat writers denied the chance to break a huge story because of this connection? Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk has suggested the controversy may not be over. He noted that Rossini has yet to tell her full story. It's her story to tell in her own time, Florio said. That implies that she will. So the hidden truth is this. Tom Brady isn't just the center of a conflict of interest scandal. He's the epicenter of a much larger earthquake shaking the NFL to its foundations. Everything came to a head in September 2025. Roger Goodell, the commissioner who once suspended Brady for Deflategate, was forced to address the controversy. His response was shocking. "Where's the conflict?" Goodell asked. "He's not hanging around in the facilities. We don't allow that." The irony was almost too much to bear. The league had created rules specifically to address the conflict of interest. Those rules proved the conflict existed, and yet Goodell was pretending it didn't. The media pounced. How can Goodell say there's no conflict when he created rules specifically to address it? They asked. The steps taken to minimize the impact of a conflict of interest does not erase the conflict. But the breaking point didn't come from the media. It came from the players themselves. NFL defenders began speaking out. Analysts called Brady's actions a clear violation of integrity. ESPN's Marcus Spears, a respected voice in the league, was blunt. "This should not happen with him being a commentator of NFL football games," Spears said. "It actually questions the integrity of the NFL." And then came the accusation that no one saw coming. Rob Parker, a longtime NFL analyst, made a statement that sent shockwaves through the sports world. "Tom Brady is best described as Lance Armstrong without the bicycle," Parker said. "They cheated. They cheated." Parker went further. He argued that Brady should not be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not because he wasn't talented, but because his success was built on cheating. Shouldn't there be some integrity, some honesty in the Hall of Fame? Parker asked. He pointed to other sports. Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds isn't. Roger Clemens isn't. Why should Brady be treated differently? For the first time in his career, Brady's legacy was under existential attack. The fans turned on him. The media turned on him. Even some of his former teammates began to distance themselves. But what happened next was even more devastating. Because it wasn't just analysts criticizing Brady. It was the teams themselves. When asked about Brady's involvement with the Raiders, a reporter asked Bears coach Ben Johnson if he was worried about giving Brady insider information during pre-game production meetings. Johnson's response was diplomatic, but his eyes told a different story. "I'm really not worried about it," Johnson said. "It's not like I'm going to sit down with Brady and say, 'Hey, don't do this to Caleb Williams, or you might get it.' Like, there's not going to be any trade secrets that are going to be exchanged." Translation: we know what Brady is doing. We know he's a potential spy, and we're not going to give him anything. But even Johnson's confidence might be misplaced. Because Brady doesn't need a production meeting to gather intelligence. He can talk to players on the field. He can chat with coaches during pregame warm-ups. He can observe, listen, and take mental notes. And then he can report back to the Raiders. The wall between broadcasting and ownership is crumbling, and Brady is the one swinging the hammer. But the breaking point, the moment that truly shocked the NFL, hadn't arrived yet. That moment came when Brady announced a flag football tournament in Saudi Arabia featuring current NFL stars like Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and CeeDee Lamb. The NFL was caught completely off guard. They had to scramble to clarify that the tournament was not league-sanctioned. They had to remind players they needed team approval to participate. For the first time, the NFL looked weak. They were reacting to Brady, not leading him. And Roger Goodell, the most powerful commissioner in sports, looked powerless. The breaking point wasn't just about football anymore. It was about control, about power, about who really runs the NFL. And the answer was becoming increasingly clear. Tom Brady. Tom Brady's legacy will never be the same. He's still the GOAT. He still has 7 Super Bowl rings. He still shattered every passing record in the book. But now there's an asterisk next to his name. Not because of Deflategate. Not because of Spygate. Because of a conflict of interests so massive, it threatens the very foundation of the NFL. The Hall of Fame debate has shifted. Once considered a lock for first-ballot induction, Brady is now the center of a heated controversy. Some analysts argue he shouldn't be inducted at all. Others say his off-field conflicts shouldn't impact his on-field achievements. The conversation has become a proxy war for the soul of football. How do we judge greatness? By wins alone, or by how those wins were achieved? For Brady, the answer may be academic. The Hall of Fame is going to induct him. They have to. His numbers are too big to ignore. But the conversation won't end there. Because Brady's shadow now looms over every broadcaster, every owner, every team executive. Troy Aikman admitted his consultancy with the Dolphins. How many other broadcasters have similar deals? How many games have been influenced by insider information passed from broadcasting booths to coaching staffs? The NFL has a choice. They can address the issue head-on. They can ban broadcasters from having any official role with teams. They can force full transparency. Or they can do what they've always done. Paper over the cracks. Pretend nothing is wrong. Hope the controversy fades. But this time it won't fade. Because Tom Brady is still here. He's still in the coach's booth. He's still talking to coaches. He's still wearing that headset. And he's still winning. In the aftermath, one thing is clear. The league that Tom Brady built is now his to tear down. And no one saw it coming.